Let's move to another story. Mining stocks and iron ore futures are down as Communist Party officials in China ramp up their rhetoric on high commodity prices. It follows a report that Beijing is fast-tracking plans to wean itself off Australian resources, in particular iron ore, including through its development of the Simandou mine in Guinea. Campbell Newman, this is a big wake-up call. We can't rely on these high iron ore prices forever and ever and ever. And of course, the budget's got the spending baked in, aged care and NDIS. We've got to have our eyes open to the hard game China's playing, don't we?
Look. Well, I think just to try and be clinical about it. Any commodity or product or service that's priced at some crazy level for the person who's buying it ultimately is extremely vulnerable, and the purchaser of that product or service will look for alternatives. And ultimately, in a global market, you will see prices bid down. And of course, the Chinese are going to look for alternatives, and of course, this day was always going to come. And it's a great pity, by the way, that the windfall gains from the revenues from high iron ore prices or extraordinarily high iron ore prices haven't been put away in essentially something like a sovereign fund like Norway has with their oil. So, we're not going to have these days forever, and we've got to get ready for that.
Joel?
Yeah, well, you made the point, Peter, that all the budget revenue assumptions are based on high volumes of iron ore exports and, of course, exports at high value. And this does just demonstrate how vulnerable that leaves us. China is not a fully developed market economy. There's no Trade Practices Act there, Peter. State-owned companies will use their monopoly power and weight to put downward pressure on commodity prices, and they will keep looking for other alternative sources for iron ore elsewhere outside Australia. So this is a real problem and a threat to us, and it's just so ironic, I think, Peter. You and I have had, and other Sky hosts have had different opinions about how the government has handled our relationship with China, but it just sort of makes me smile sometimes when Scott Morrison effectively and his colleagues declare war on China, but they're still happy to send our iron ore to bolster their own budget bottom line. It smacks a little bit of Pig Iron Bob, doesn't it? For those of your viewers that are old enough to remember what that means.
Be careful, Joel Fitzgibbon. I can still remember when the former Prime Minister from your side called them rat expletives, but it was happily also taking that resources revenue. Anyway, we'll leave it there. Joel Fitzgibbon, Campbell Newman, thank you for your time this evening.